Hello, my name is Bailey Trotter, and I am the coordinator of the Relational Lexicography project based at the University of British Columbia in Canada. Before I start, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you today from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including those of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. This presentation focuses on an open access toolkit for collaborative community-informed dictionaries, which we have created as part of the Relational Lexicography project. My co-authors for this presentation are the project's principal investigator, Mark Turin, co-investigator, Christine Schreyer, research assistant, Meryl Bishop, and project collaborator, Victoria Sear. Have you ever tried to find a dictionary of an Indigenous or marginalized language only to encounter dead ends and broken links? Are you involved in language documentation and want to know more about dictionaries of related languages or innovations in community-based lexicography? This research project fills a resource gap by offering a framework and toolkit for collaborative, community-informed dictionary work with Indigenous and marginalized languages. We call this process relational lexicography, as it represents a shift towards dictionaries that are created with, by, and for speakers and learners of under-resourced languages. I'm going to discuss how our open access toolkit is structured, its benefits, and its role in advancing language justice. This toolkit, which takes the form of an online knowledge base, currently houses a catalog of information on over 650 dictionaries of North American Indigenous languages, together with information on lexicography software. The knowledge base is divided into two main parts, dictionaries and technologies. I will be focusing on the dictionaries in this presentation. I start by introducing the knowledge base. I will then go through some examples of dictionaries from the knowledge base and showcase the information about them that we have chosen to include. And finally, I will discuss the benefits of this open access dictionaries knowledge base. To begin, let me share a quote from the chapter of the Green Book of Language Revitalization in Practice. Here, Linda Yamani describes her heart-wrenching journey of trying to access her language through archival documentation, including dictionaries. Of the word list she was able to find, Yamani writes, "They are obscure publications not readily available to the average person in the average library, but these are what made the beginning of my Roomsian language learning possible. For under-resourced and Indigenous communities, a dictionary contains crucial historical, cultural, and territorial information. When languages become endangered, dictionaries become primary tools for language learning. In language communities that have few written records, dictionary making, or lexicography, can be very time-consuming and labor-intensive. Accessing information on language documentation is a form of language justice and a growing concern in the field, a gap which our dictionary knowledge base works to fill. Each dictionary included in the knowledge base has its own page, where we've answered a series of questions about the ways in which language and related information is represented in the dictionary. For example, we have looked at how speakers and other contributors are cited, in what format the dictionary can be accessed, and how. We provide links to WorldCat, an online global catalog of library materials, as well as online and digitized dictionaries when they are available, and any relevant news articles or reviews. The screenshot in this slide shows the top section of our dictionaries knowledge base. The first 9 of 650 dictionaries can be seen listed in the column on the right, each with clickable titles which link to a specific page with much more information about each dictionary. The column on the left, where the language and format headers can be seen, consists of filterable categories. These filter categories can be used to narrow down the dictionary results in the right column through a few simple clicks. The knowledge base is completely filterable, allowing users to easily find and compare dictionaries. The knowledge base spans print dictionaries, ebooks, online dictionaries, interactive websites, and apps for mobile devices. It has been designed to showcase the variety of dictionaries that exist and the diversity of lexicographical products over time. The tool can be used to find and compare dictionaries of a specific language, all dictionaries in a language family, all online dictionaries, or explore lexicography practices across decades. It can be used by someone who wishes to find dictionaries in their language or someone working on a dictionary project to see how others have tackled certain aspects of dictionary making. Our knowledge base contributes to language justice by facilitating community-to-community support and lexicography rather than prioritizing top-down dictionary making practices that were developed by and for dominant languages. For each dictionary, we posed a series of questions about how different categories of information are represented, and often not represented. Answers to these questions can be found on the knowledge base page for each dictionary. I will cover 3 of the main questions in depth. The first question is who? Who contributed to this dictionary? Are they cited? And if so, how? The next question is, what is the source of the language data? Did the data derive directly from speakers, or is it a compilation of previous resources or unpublished materials? The last question asks, what tools and frameworks were used? What format is the dictionary in? How is it created? And how can it be accessed? For the question of who, we look to find who created and contributed to the resource. This includes the author, often called the compiler, and sometimes an editor, who are most often acknowledged on the front cover and on the first page. This question also addresses how speakers, elders, and other contributors are cited. We have found that authors, compilers, and editors are cited similarly across publications, but the way that speakers and other contributors are recognized varies considerably. Many dictionaries, especially older dictionaries, do not cite speakers at all. Some dictionaries have acknowledgement pages with long lists of names. Some dictionaries include pictures and bios of every speaker who contributed to the dictionary. Who is cited and how they are cited varies considerably. By answering this question for each dictionary in the knowledge base, we have documented and made explicit certain lexicographic practices, which, when combined with the filters, help the users to view and compare dictionaries across languages, formats, and time periods. This resource was also designed to serve as a reference for communities or organizations who are currently compiling a dictionary, illustrating the wide variety of ways people are cited in such works. As an example of what the sections on authorship and contributors look like in our dictionary's knowledge base, I offer the entry for the 2018 Senchothan Dictionary compiled by Timothy Montler. This dictionary is extremely thorough and detailed in the ways in which it cites speakers. The How People Are Cited section of the knowledge base page details where in the dictionary these speakers are cited. In this case, it's the Contributing Native Elders section of the front matter, and how they are cited. In this case, each elder is cited by name, along with a short description of their contribution to the dictionary, a photograph, and their initials, which are used to cite their contributions in the body of the dictionary. The speaker's initials follow each and every entry they contributed to or affirmed. Finally, this section indicates that other contributors, such as funding organizations, research assistants, apprentices, and Senchothan linguists, are named and thanked in the acknowledgement section of the front matter. Having such information easily accessible allows users to 1. Know how to locate information they are looking for in the dictionary, 2. Easily compare dictionaries to see the various ways that people are cited and acknowledged, and 3. Access words from a specific speaker's dialect and learn from elders and ancestors. It is not common practice for dictionaries of majority languages to cite speakers in each entry, or to include speaker photographs in the front matter. But these are features which are beneficial to many Indigenous or marginalized language communities in their own dictionaries. We imagine a language community, perhaps working on a community-led dictionary, not yet sure how best to cite speakers in ways most suited to their project, being able to look through these sections of the knowledge base to view solutions and options which are already in use by other similar dictionaries. The next question we asked when looking at each dictionary is what is the source of the language data. Some of the dictionaries may be the first ever published for their language, and others derive directly from named speakers. Others are compilations of unpublished word lists from 100 years ago. With this question, we seek to answer where, and more specifically who, the entries in each dictionary come from. The way in which dictionaries communicate this information varies. Often it is explained in the introduction or on an about page of a website. Other times it is left out altogether. The entries in each dictionary are not just abstract data, but rather pieces of language provided by a specific community member or members. Dictionaries are typically the compilation of years of language work and documentation, and are not often projects undertaken by a single solitary author. The answers to this question can reveal how collaborative the dictionary making process was, and show just how many people contributed to and influenced a dictionary project. I offer an example of a section of the knowledge base which addresses this question of where information comes from, using the page for Carrie Edwards' 2009 Dictionary of Tlingit. The source of language data for this particular resource is provided in the acknowledgement sections of the dictionary, and includes consultant speakers, previously published Tlingit language materials, and a dictionary manuscript from another author. The dictionary cites by name 4 speakers who worked as the primary language consultants, and 3 more who contributed example sentences and audio recordings. Each of the previously published resources, along with the compilers, are cited. It is made explicit that any entries in the dictionary which are identified as being from the Interior Tlingit dialects derive from the 2001 Interior Tlingit Noun Dictionary. Including this information on the knowledge base allows users to understand where the language data in this resource comes from. A visitor to the knowledge base, looking at the Tlingit dictionaries, can quickly see that this resource builds upon and includes language data from other dictionaries. Users can then reference the other dictionaries on the knowledge base and see the source of information in those publications. This section shows what information is important to include and cite, as well as how many dictionaries are a compilation of multiple sources. The final question we asked when looking at each dictionary is, what tools and frameworks were used? What format is the dictionary in, and how can it be accessed? We established set categories for both format and access, which are shown above, to make it easier to classify each dictionary. Many dictionaries have multiple format and access categories. We determined the format categories based on the most common formats we located dictionaries in, and based on how we anticipate people would interact with various types of dictionaries. We made a distinction between digital and physical books, because a digital book is likely accessible to someone browsing our online knowledge base immediately, while a physical book often requires a trip to the library. We made a distinction between websites and multimedia websites to make it easier for users who want to find dictionaries which include images, audio, video, and other media-based learning aids. With access categories, we wanted to ensure that these would be applicable to any of the knowledge base's potential users. Just because a dictionary is accessible to us through our university's library, either digitally or physically, does not mean it will be accessible to everyone using the knowledge base. We used WorldCat, an online library catalog, to see if dictionaries were accessible through libraries. If they were, they are categorized with library access. If a dictionary, whether print or digital, can only be accessed by members of that specific community, such as a password-protected website, we have categorized it as members only. Open access refers to digital resources which are immediately available to anyone, regardless of library access or institutional affiliation. Paid access refers to anything behind a paywall and can include apps as well as books which can be purchased. Finally, the category of inaccessible is used for dictionaries which do not appear to be held by any library, cannot be accessed online, and cannot be purchased. Many of these dictionaries are older resources which we have found cited in other dictionaries, and we do not have much information about. Rather than look at an example from the knowledge base to showcase format and access, since for the most part these categories are standardized and fairly straightforward on every page, we will compare two online dictionaries to highlight the diversity that exists within even one format category. In this case, it's the website category. The first dictionary is the Online Tlingit Verb Dictionary, compiled by Carrie Eggleston, and the second is the North Slope Inupiaq to English Dictionary by Yarkon Technologies, which is an online version of Edna Agyak McLean's dictionary by the same name. Both of these online resources are thorough and extensive dictionaries of languages with morphology that is difficult to represent in a single entry. The Online Tlingit Verb Dictionary uses a very basic online interface and consists of links which can open up each section. The Tlingit and English indexes both open up text-based scrollable word list, while the More Information link opens up additional grammar information, project background, and acknowledgement pages. In the Tlingit index, the English gloss can be clicked to open up the entire verb paradigm. While the North Slope Inupiaq to English Dictionary is much more sophisticated in its interface, it consists of similarly detailed language information. The website has a built-in word builder, which allows users to select a word and then add postbases, pronouns, and number to the word. While one of these dictionaries is much more technologically complex, both dictionaries provide information on the morphology of a language in a structure which is supported by the online format and are extremely detailed and valuable to learners. By including both of these online dictionaries, knowledge-based users are able to see the possibilities and flexibility of the online dictionary format, as well as appreciate how a technologically less complicated online dictionary is still extremely beneficial. The knowledge base helps to break down preconceptions about what specific formats of dictionary must look like and provide examples of the variety we have identified. To conclude, I want to talk about some of the benefits of the knowledge base, both in support of community-based lexicography projects, as well as to the broader concept of language justice. The knowledge base facilitates easier access to North American Indigenous language dictionaries and provides a platform to find these dictionaries all in one place. It can be used to find out which dictionaries exist for a language and to help language learners access resources. This tool was designed to help communities or anyone else involved in dictionary compilation determine what they want and need from a dictionary. The knowledge base helps users learn what their options are and what has been done before. This tool contributes to language justice by providing information about and access to language resources which have already been created in service of collaborative, community-informed dictionary work with Indigenous and marginalized languages. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. We are grateful to the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada, the Peter Wall Institute for Advanced Studies, UBC Language Sciences, the UBC Faculty of Arts, the Institute for Community Engaged Research, and to our community partners, Splatsheen Chimasaltan and Selkirk First Nation, for their support of this project. You can find our website with information on funding, a full list of project collaborators, and details on other aspects of the Relational Lexicography project at dictionaries.arts.ubc.ca. Both the dictionaries and technologies knowledge bases can be found at knowledgebase.arts.ubc.ca. If you would like to contact us, you can email us at dictionaries.arts@ubc.ca. Please let us know if there are any dictionaries we're missing from the knowledge base, or if you have any other comments or suggestions. Thank you.